Kiss my ears with the dear white light and ignite the fire of my soul tonight. Shine bright, illuminate quick to end the fight. Laser sharp insight lets me slice and dice through your insides. In the deep chambers of your mind I reside, whispering evil lies, tying knots in your grey matter. Eclectic, Celtic, Aztec neglect will affect the cracked decks crumbling under the death of your next subject. I represent the devil's next bigger bent, an explosive dent in the very fabric of modern society. Tearing the ideas out of your mind, shredding them in creamy line, it tastes divine. I twist and manipulate, investigate. The bourgeoisie roll me exceptionally, indefinitely, incredibly, effectively deceiving. The wondrously twisting, cataleptically as the infinity is ingeniously encoding the delirious insanity of a sick mind into fine rhymes, deciphering why I decide to beat my heart in a time sync perfectly with grimy crime. Who am I to ask why? When I miss the chance to lie in your heart, I abide. The clock ticks, lick your lips erotically. I insist to finish your circuits and be limitless. Bow down and kiss my feet, I am infinite.
The lens of which we're looking through is growth. Welcome, Double Damage. I am your host, Corey Williams, and this month I am joined by, to my, is this to my right? Yeah. To my right we have, would you like to introduce yourself?
I'm Thomas Harper. Lovely to meet you all here. It's a real privilege, a real honour here to share this sacred space with you all today and just share our hearts and souls together. I feel like we're meant to be here today. For some reason, there's some divine synchronicity that's brought all these souls together in this room to melt together our energy and create something new. So I feel like we'll be able to provide something special and insightful maybe that will help someone out there at some point, maybe inspire them, touch their heart and soul. So just to say, send so much gratitude to you all and send a message of love to everyone out there. Send a message of love out to everyone.
And to my left.
Hey, I'm Jamel, aka Just the Man Expressing Love, and I couldn't have said it better myself. Just really happy to be a part of this platform. Poetical Word has always been about community and family. To welcome me into this family is a privilege.
This month we're talking about expanding horizons, and what I basically mean by that is basically how we connect to others as well as ourselves, personal situations, social situations, and how that creatively affects how that benefits our creativity. That's the words I was looking for. So when I say expanding your horizons, what does that make you instantly think about if you relate it to creativity?
Yeah, well, my instant spark is it's about pushing myself outside of my comfort zone, outside of my usual realm of experience, into difficult, challenging or scary situations, or going to places, meeting people that I would never normally meet in my everyday life. And doing that, I find the inspiration to create new work that breaks outside the mold of what I would ordinarily create. So I'm always looking for the next great way to get inspired, to broaden my horizons, to expand, not just creatively, but personally and spiritually. I'm always looking what's going to cause me the most growth, what experience right now, where should I go right now that's going to blow me wide open.
So, if we talk about right now for you, what is the experience that's kind of blowing you right open?
So right now, I mean, being here, meeting you guys, meeting all of you, this in itself is that. Having this chance to express myself with you all, but to meet you wonderful souls here, I'm learning from all of you. You know, I've only met you all once before, so each of you has something that I can learn from that is going to expand my horizons. So just being here right now does that, and this creative zone we've created together, I think is going to expand all horizons. Yeah.
Word.
Definitely. I mean, I definitely agree in terms of when I think about horizons, I think about ceilings. I think about putting a limit on yourself, and the only way I found I could expand it is to actually leave my room, get out into the world, and actually overcome my own anxieties and fears, connect with people.
What made you want to take that first step and leave your room?
Yeah, I mean, I've always written. I've always, from a young age, and shared my pieces predominantly with my mom and my family. My mom's my biggest fan. But I had a family member that was in hospital for a long period of time, and I was caring for her. And one of the things she said to me was, I'm here. I can't change my circumstances. But you've always been a good writer. Why don't you just go to an open mic? Why don't you just share, your work with people? Why, you have the ability, the freedom, the health to go out and do something, instead of just kind of obsessing over my predicament. Why don't you go out? And I just decided to do that finally, and kind of report back to her as to like what, how it was, and did they like this, or what my experiences were. I messed up a line, and I just had something to talk about. So it started like that. I had to live my life to kind of make her not feel that she was hindering me living, and together we kind of were making progress. Because she would kind of, oh, what piece are you going to say tonight at this open mic? And then I would perform it, and we were kind of like in a weird way helping each other, and she's just really been able to sort of see the growth, my confidence level from when I first ever decided to share it. And then lastly, just meeting different people. Those conversations you have before and after an event mean so much to me. It kind of made me think that my pieces are bigger than me. When people that I wrote for myself, it was quite selfish, my own purging of my emotions. And then when you meet people that like a line or something resonated with them, you realize that, wow, it's much less a selfish pursuit, and who knows, like, what you have has the power to change someone's day, someone's outlook, and then vice versa. Like Tom was saying, I've heard perspectives, political views, a variety of things that I would never be able to on my own pursue. I can't go out and go to this section of the world or this section of a stance, but in one open mic and one poetry session, you can meet, you disagree, agree, but it's just a great organic atmosphere that can only help you become more open-minded, more tolerant. Just lastly, I mean, I think, for instance, sometimes you get some relationship poems from the female perspective where they're talking about some of the challenges it is to be a woman and to hear things. And I was just thinking about how when they're speaking truth to power and getting on, using their voice to talk about things that affect them. Typically, if a guy is on the other phone hearing about himself in that way, he just hangs up. He just, closes up, walks away. But when you're stuck in an open mic, 3-4 hours, there's no exit. You want to go up and share your voice? Cool, you can go up and share your voice, but you're gonna hear a whole bunch of stuff that might trigger you. You might think, wait, was I always the best in that relationship? Did I make someone potentially feel a certain way? Like it really questions the whole, your whole being. And so I think I'm a better person for leaving the house and meeting different people. And it's not about what you give, but it's kind of like, not about what you receive out of it, not about what you give out, but what you receive back from the poetry scene. And you get a lot back, definitely.
I think it was Felicia was talking about on episode 2 about kind of the idea of like when you go out there and perform, or even if you're just speaking or sharing your opinion, you're not always thinking about the people who you're going to affect when you actually go out there and do these things. So a lot of the time although it's for you, it's also for other people. But then kind of you have to be okay with it because you're an artist. You have to be okay to share that maybe intimate aspect of yourself, and be okay to kind of let it be out there and let other people take meaning from it that may be different from the original meaning that you intended for it to mean.
Mm-hmm.
So it also makes me think of kind of the idea of balance, because that's been a really constant thing that's been along all these episodes, the idea of balance. And it's kind of course, the same thing. You need to give to receive, otherwise if you're just giving and no one else is out there wanting to receive or even open enough to receive, then it's like you're speaking to a brick wall.
Exactly. Yeah, I always say, like, I love talking to, because every night I like nights when there's the majority of people didn't perform, you know, like, and you know, Poetical Word has a lot of people that are just there to listen, just there to show support, and I love that, you know, just going up to them and saying thank you, because you know, you've received a lot, you know, and I think it's quite a lot of emotional endurance to take on people's words, take on people's feelings and stories. I know as a performer, it's hard, and then you get up and then you add to that, and someone is sitting there patiently smiling throughout, and I just love going up to them and saying thank you, because we would, if it wasn't for the audience, it wasn't for the support, what would we have? Where would we be? Like you said, a brick wall. So
I mean, poetry events are great, and it was also great to have other performance there. But how boring would it be if there was just performance in the audience? You know.
And it's hard. I think one of my biggest challenges, I challenge myself, is to become a better listener. Oftentimes, when you do go out, you're going out to perform, you know, or you're going out hoping to perform to get on the list, right?
Yeah.
So how can I still be an active listener? You know, like, I really don't want to say to someone, I really like the piece, thank you. You know, I want to be able to, like, think about a line or think about something that resonated, you know, be genuine with it, because I know as a performer how naked you feel. So I respect the process. It's like a sacred space, you know, the night, and everyone's getting up. You know, it's like a little temple, you know, and it's a safe space. So how can I just respect that? But at the same time, you're concerned about your performance. You're concerned about, you know, you write down words in your book or your phone. You want to deliver it. You want to give your words the best possible chance to resonate. So you don't want to mess up your delivery, but trying to not be so consumed by it, to not even allow yourself to make a mistake, to not be so tightly wound up that the entire night you've missed out on a beautiful space because you're so concerned with yourself.
I felt that in my body, that before I perform, the constriction in my body, and then even when I came here, I remember I was cycling on the way here, the thoughts about what am I going to say, and that is exactly what you speak about there, is that sense of worrying about your own performance. But it's like you said, it's not necessarily just for you, it's everyone that you're speaking to and the impact you're having on them. And I always feel like at the end of the day, if it comes from your heart, if it's something true you have to say, then it's meant to be, and it'll work out how it's supposed to. But that's really what motivates me in a sense, is I want to have a positive impact in people's lives. So I know I've got so much emotions that, of course, like you said, that do need to come out. They need to be purged. They got to come out somehow.
Sure.
But then at the same time, I'm always thinking, how can I inspire you? How can I inspire you to uplift your life, to transform, improve, so we can rise up together? So there's different levels. I suppose we all have different intentions with our art. So some people maybe you want to make people have a good time, like if you're a musician, make people dance or something. I guess it all depends on where we're coming from. For me, that's my drive is, I want you to be uplifted. I want to wake people up. I want us to wake up collectively as a consciousness and as a society. That's what really drives me, and that's what also, coming back to expanding horizons, why it feels so important that I expand myself, I expand my own horizons, because I know whatever I deliver to the world is coming from in here. It's coming from in here. So depending on my energy, it's like you say, it's not the words you say, it's the energy behind it. So with the words we play, and that's the game, but actually the impact that we have is energetic. It's on an energetic level. So it's important that not just me, but for everyone, that we expand our horizons more and more, so that we have deeper understanding, and that communicates through our work.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, part for me, I challenge myself to share new pieces. You know, I know that's everyone's personal choice to kind of like refine the one piece, you know, but I just need to know. I need to feel uncomfortable. Like, I think it's, as a performer, as a human being, I need to be comfortable being uncomfortable. You know, I need to feel sick every time, you know, because otherwise I don't know if I'm human or am I a robot, you know, because I don't want to ever just, my performances to just be performative, you know, it's my real life.
It's like, for example, like when I wrote my poem that's loosely based on 50 Shades of Grey, and I went on stage and performed it, and I've had a lot of people tell me, oh gosh, you're crazy, talk about sex on stage, but I actually found it quite freeing once I had actually stood on stage and spoke about it.
Right.
But because it's something that everyone can relate to, and it's also, why should I feel uncomfortable about saying these things?
Right,
if
right.
it's something that everyone goes through.
Right.
And it's the same thing about your art, if you think about it, in a sense, because although you're going through it singularly, everyone else has probably experienced an element of that. So you shouldn't really feel uncomfortable on stage. You should be kind of hoping that there's someone else out there that actually is willing to accept and say, yeah, this happens to me. I'm affected by this too. You've really helped me. You really see me even. That's another thing that humans want to be. They want to be seen.
No, absolutely.
You know?
Yeah. I feel like that's part of our role as creators, is to shed light on the areas where there is darkness, there is fear, there is shame, there is embarrassment. There's aspects of universal human experience, like you mentioned sex, but where to some extent it's being repressed. And so I have that in myself. I know sometimes I write dirty shit, and I think, no way do I want to share it.
Right.
But part of me knows inside at some point I've got to let that go and share it with the world, because not only to liberate myself sexually and mentally, but for everyone else, because none of these things should be left in the darkness. Yeah. So I totally resonate with what you're saying there.
But for the I think one of the things I love to talk to, like, people kind of starting out is just being aware that you can't control, there's certain things you can't control. Yeah. So I know, like, it might be nice, you're part of a workshop and you know you write your pieces and you feel good. That's great. Now, the biggest step is getting your thoughts on the page. Then you want to share it. You want to own your story, own the narrative. You know, you want to live in your truths. So you go to an open mic night, but you really don't control the vibe. You know, and this is where I'm talking about with expanding horizons. It's nice to go to the spot that your friends are, where you've made a little bit of a following, people like you, and that's dope. You know, but I've seen poets in different environments where no one knows them, or they might be, you might progress and get bookings to go speak to an office, or you know, a motivational kind of speaking, and again, they might not be from a poetry music crowd, so you know they might not get the line, they might not snap the fingers, you know. So what are you gonna do? Is that gonna affect your performance if you find that it's not hitting the way it hit at this place?
Or even, sorry to cut you off, or even like it's something that popped up in my head, like when people laugh in parts that it's not even intended to be funny. That throws me off completely, because I'm just like, well, why are you laughing?
I've had the opposite. Sometimes you perform a piece so much and you think you know it, you know the bit, and then you perform the bit, and then there's no reaction, and you're like, oh wow. Now what happened? Is it the crowd, or is it me, or is this just that you really don't have any control? Yeah. Sometimes you perform a piece a couple times and then people kind of like different parts. You can hear in the audience like a ooh and an ah, and you're like, wow, I didn't know that throwaway line hit. So it's more about just controlling how you feel about your work first. Be receptive to criticism, because that's a part of it, right? The audience, we should respect them. Like, they're not there just to be a mirror. They're there to take part as well. So I have no problems with people coming up and sharing something. I've had feedback, I've had thoughts that can kind of throw me off, that has thrown me off creativity. Like if they've said they don't necessarily agree with this, or they've they're just, people are opinionated, right? Like we all are, really. Like, I don't want it to make the audience. I mean, we all have opinions on what brands we want to, you know, support, food we want to eat. You know, you can say objectively, I don't like this meal, but I like that meal, even though someone's child made that meal you don't like, and someone in their family think they're a great cook. You know what I mean? Like, we're all opinionated. So I don't want it to be, but I know as a creative, it can really, you can go to the page and they're in your head. You know, you're thinking, ooh, they like this because I heard them cheer for that performance. I'm gonna write a piece for that crowd, and that's where I think we make the mistake, because it's you want to be stable in your emotions, no matter where you are, no matter if there's one person in the audience, it's 100, whether they like you, whether they don't like you. You just want to maintain your own confidence, your own self-esteem, and it cannot be dependent on variables which you can't control, which is the rain coming out when you're about to perform. You know, imagine if I was like super, like I had an entrance prepared, I had some words, right? And then before you even go up, like I performed on Monday, you know, the clouds parted and rain. You just cannot get too tightly wound, I don't think, in this journey, because it's all love. It's all love. And in the moments that don't go to plan, you actually cherish more than the ones in which you kind of micromanage, because
reminds me of a quote that John Lennon said. He said, "Life is what happens when you're busy making plans."
That's true.
That's so true.
I've also heard that, like, it's about the destination, but not necessarily the route. So it's about going on a journey and getting to where you need to go, but you can't, you know, whether the train breaks down and you gotta like take an Uber, or you gotta take a bus, or the bus break, you gotta walk. Like, the bottom line is getting there in the end. But these things you can't control, you know, like, especially in London. Shout out to TFL. They suck. Definitely learn to just be a bit more patient.
So I was looking up like this ways to amplify your creativity, but I came up with loads of articles about amplifying your life, and I thought, well, it's pretty much the same thing. You can map it to connect. So the first point that I found was to do with intention. So it says that in order to live a purpose-driven life, you must be intentional with your thoughts, words, and actions. And intentions are the beginning of every great idea.
It's funny because you were just talking there about what you don't have control over.
Yeah.
And it's true, we don't have control over anything outside of us, other people, the events, situations. There's no control. The only thing that we really have any dominion over is what's inside ourselves, our thoughts, our feelings, our intentions. That's what we have some ability to manage and direct. So, like you said, like if you can get your intention right, and you're focused and passionate and purposeful and aligned and balanced inside, then you're going to succeed no matter what. You know what I mean?
Sorry, there's a really dope phrase that says, if you don't have a destination, any path will get you there.
It's just the path.
That's the thing. I didn't want to say it because it's so cheesy, but it is about the journey, not the destination. You know what I mean?
That's kind of piggybacking though, like, you know, the thing is, I kind of like that, because I've thought about this before as well. Like, if you have a GPS satellite navigation, and you don't have a destination, what is the purpose of this technology? You'd literally be driving around aimlessly, losing petrol, probably get, stuck somewhere. You know, before you leave the house, you have to know where you're going. So I think when I think about this artist's journey,
Well, you could just walk.
but at some point, at some point your legs get tired, you get hungry. Like, no one really leaves the house without knowing where they're gonna go.
So that's something that I don't agree with, and I just wanted to yeah, basically, this was the point I wanted to make, was because bringing it back as well to expanding horizons. For me, some of the most expansive journeys I've been on have been those without a destination, i.e. it's walking forward and you have no idea where you're going. In fact, all you know is that you're going into the unknown. And that is why it is so expansive, because you can't say, oh, I'm going to go here, I know that will be good, I want to go to this place, it'll be safe, you know what I mean? Or there's something, you're going, and honestly, it's like, you have no clue where you're going.
No expectations of what it's going to be like.
No expectations.
Yeah, I get that.
And it's like a complete leap of faith.
But I think even that is an intentional choice, is what I mean. It's not it's not passive. Your decision to go somewhere in which you don't have a destination is an active choice. It's control, like you said. Life isn't just happening to you, but you're making a conscious decision. You know what? I don't know what's gonna happen. I really don't know what. I'm gonna go to this place, but just gonna go. I'm just gonna keep walking, and I don't know what's on the other side. I think we work so hard in our words, and we work so hard on our delivery of words that it's almost an insult to assume that we don't have an idea of what we want, or what we want for our art, you know? Might not know where exactly we want it, or where exactly it's going to lead to, but there's no way you left your house, traveled, signed up, got on a stage, you know, on a sort of like, with no sort of point. You know, there's always a point. And this has been a learning process for me, because I told you my introduction was wanted to, you know, my family member, give her something to smile about, you know, or to at least get her off my back, right? And then it became like, okay, I'm enjoying it, and this is meaningful, and I'm getting better, and I feel like I can live for her. I can speak to voices to people that don't have the opportunity, right? And so then you start thinking, okay, so where else can this go? And this is where the expanding the horizons comes in. You might meet a poet at an event and hear what they're doing, or hear where they're going, and then you might hear another conversation that, oh, they have a podcast and they're doing that, or they host a night, or they do something in the community, and you start learning about all the different avenues in which your art can take you, and you kind of can feel like, well, I'm not on that level, right? They're the feature, I'm just the open mic, or I'm a no, you know? Then you start to say, hey, wait, I can do this, you know? What's the steps? You start asking questions, and then next thing you know, you're doing things that miles away from what you initially thought the first time you ever left your house, but you realize that one word can take you so far, and that it's a disservice to not investigate, to not try to amplify while we have breath in us, while we have blood in us, to actually to manifest our thoughts to the loudest reaches, you know. So it's not bad. I used to sometimes get a little emotional, because where's the love, man? Where's the purity? You guys all, you know, sold out. You got organizations, and, you know, what about this meeting in the backyard? I love listening to, like, the story of this setup, right? Because it wasn't someone's house or something like that, right? And then it eventually kept, you know, partnering with different organizations, and you got so many different branches from this one idea in someone's home, right? You got charities, and you have, you know, the different people you help out, have people help out with, and they kind of get more confident. It's you know, I don't know if you had that conversation like with old your younger self, and be like, you know, what would you think of, you know, how long has this been? 10 years? Or
No, it's been about 5 years.
5 years.
Yeah.
5 years ago, would you have some different thoughts as to what you've done? Would you be like, oh, you know, this is just casual, you know, you've gotten too serious, you know, like it's not negative, right, to invest in yourself, but it's something I had to learn. So even this whole conversation, it's like, there's a cynical brain to me. It's like, what's the angle, man? What's the angle? Amplifying. Why do you want to amplify? Why do you want to make our voice so loud, you know, at the expense of other voices, you know? But it's not so mercenary. it's literally just even trying to maximize your potential. It's not at the expense of others. It's what we all should feel empowered to do. So so that's my thing, which is sorry, I'm mumbling now, but
That's okay.
we're all performers, and we're all trying to. It's not bad looking into things that you don't know. It's not bad to take some advice and, hey, do you know about this? And sometimes, I'm not gonna lie, in the scene, it can sometimes feel like opportunities are hidden.
Yeah.
And people have great opportunities. They have great benefactors, great connections that they don't always share. Not because they can't, but just that because they have this irrational fear of you popping up off of this platform is gonna affect me popping off. In reality, that's not the case at all.
I talked to Fury WD about this.
Yeah, it's there's no.
It's like that kind of lack mindset of competition. It's you or me. We can't both make it. You know what I mean? You can't both live the dream. There's only going to be this number of great spoken word artists in this thing. So I'm against you.
Right.
And I need to take everything for myself.
Right.
And hopefully you'll crash and burn and I'll soar like an eagle.
Yeah.
But actually there's a different way you can look at things, which is more living in abundance. There's enough for everyone. Everyone can actually live the life they love and their dreams. Everyone can succeed. Everyone has that potential in them. And your success actually can empower and inspire me
Absolutely.
to do better myself and vice versa. So it's like you mentioned about us all becoming our greatest versions together.
Absolutely.
And then you're not, this is what I realise now, I'm not in competition with anyone else. I'm just in competition with myself.
Absolutely.
So my challenge is every day to be better than my last day. That's my competition. I'm not in competition with anyone else. You guys, I just wish you the best and I hope to inspire you all. But I'm the one that my greatest hasta la vista is me, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is who I gotta be.
How does it impact when you compete?
When I compete,
Yeah.
Oh, so it's funny because I still have that competitive energy. So it's like obviously you want to win,
Right.
but at the same time, like I remember, so I did the first slam a few days ago. I didn't win, but you know what?
How did you with that ethos that you have?
Yeah.
You know, all winners and stuff. Were you able to instantly have a great perspective on the experience? But did you?
Yeah, I got a bit. Yeah, no, I felt like the one who won. My feeling was you deserved it. Congratulations, and this is just like a learning experience for me. You know, I'll try again.
Yeah.
I'll come back again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I feel like everything's meant to be the way it is.
Yeah.
So I never feel like, oh, that shouldn't have happened. You know, God, that. You know, why? You know, then going, oh, why did this happen? Oh no.
Yeah.
I always feel like, nah. Whatever happens, it happens for a reason.
Sure.
And everything is in service of my own awakening and expansion. So yeah.
It reminds me of this. It's written your comfort zone with a circle around it,
Yes.
and a little thing outside it saying where the magic happens. And so one of my teachers at school explained this to me, and they expanded the horizon. They put the dotted line around both of them and said, look, now this is your comfort zone. Once you go out there, and once you go out here, it expands. So I think I've got a question about that. How do we, as creatives, go that outside that? Do we put ourselves in uncomfortable situations knowing that yes, we're going to fail, but we're going to learn, and therefore it's not a failure?
Yeah, I like that because I always feel this is how I see it is I put failure higher than success. So my goal is to fail fast and fail hard at the things that are most important to me. I'm not trying to. Obviously, there's that part that wants to succeed, but my focus is fail as many times as I can. There's a saying that the master has failed more times than the student has tried. So each failure is a lesson. So actually, by trying to collect as many failures as you can, you're getting the lessons, you're learning the lessons. That's how you achieve greatness. Keep failing.
The concept of that is, I was watching these really cool videos. They're called Fail Forward.
Yeah,
I like that.
I like this speech.
Fail Forward. And you're saying Thomas Edison, failed 1,000 times, but his 1,001st one was the light bulb. And whoever, the Colonel Saunders on KFC, he went to all these different places and he was like, yo, I've got this really cool recipe, and no one gave him anything, but that perseverance got him through, and eventually he got there because he saw it as a lesson.
Popcorn chicken.
It's,
Yeah.
it's Denzel Washington, that speech.
Yeah.
I listened to it yesterday.
Ah,
I was
interesting.
just burst of motivation. I was listening to him. Very inspiring.
It's interesting because I have like a few different interests, and I'm actually trying to write like some pitch ideas for some scripts and pilot episodes, and you know, obviously a lot of rejection, but it's quite natural in certain fields to have more rejection than love. But sometimes it's interesting because you can kind of be in a like artist bubble. Everyone's genuinely supportive of open mic and using your voice. You know, no one's really trying to root against you. But in some other industries, it's just part of the course, which is you're gonna hear a lot more no than you hear yes. But that doesn't stop you from still writing. And it was, I think, one script writer I followed. She said something like, "Every no is not a no, but like a new opportunity." I don't know if you've heard that one.
N-O.
Yeah, new opportunity.
Oh, bro.
Because especially sometimes you get feedback on the no, and it's just a new opportunity to succeed on the failure. So, you know, the issue, I work in education, and the problem I find is a lot of children from certain backgrounds are so afraid of failure that they don't try. So they get so worked up to get the wrong answer, to fail an assessment. Literally tantrums, literally the world's coming to an end, and that's not useful for the real world, right? Because you start a new job, no one expects you to be a master. You have to go through training, you have to go through what's that period? Probation period, right? In which, you know, you're gonna get some oversight. Okay, this is what you can do. But if kids are not used to criticism or getting it wrong, so my biggest thing that I want to bring is, around me, feel free to get this math problem wrong. Feel free to, I want you to raise your hand and to get it wrong. Like, if you feel comfortable failing in front of me, I feel like I've added more impact to your life, because that's a skill that helps all the businessmen, you know, get far. That helps all of the, you know, the movers and shakers of the world to think much bigger. You mentioned the pie. No, you mentioned the circle, and I was just thinking about the pie. Like, if sometimes we're all
hungry?
Like, a little bit. You offered me some youngers. He did offer me some youngers. But no, if there's a pie and we're all trying to get our piece, that's cool. That's okay. That's sufficient, but it's not enough for me. I always think about, especially because I come from growing up in New York, and I didn't really come up performing in New York. I became an adult here, but I've been back and I've seen how they kind of have a different setup to the scene over there, you know. And I just think that sometimes here we can think much bigger than the pie, but we can think about making the pie bigger, you know. So like, outside of the one space, how can we create a bigger market, right? That's what true those Silicon Valley guys do, right? They don't just say, I just want to make the iPhone, but how can we create a bigger market? Let's make a tablet. Tablet was never needed before. They just made a whole new sector, made the pie much bigger. Now everyone gets to eat off one company saying we're going to make the pie bigger, because fighting for real estate in the phone business, there was a new company popping off every day. And now the next thing is, what's the new market? People are already kind of future planning for like the next thing that we don't know we want, and that's actually something we could apply to everything, especially when it comes to if you are feeling slightly that, oh, I'm stuffed, my horizons are limited. It's like I'm no longer, like I used to, but I no longer complain about like opportunities that I don't have, because every day I have an opportunity to expand. I can ask a question, I can partner with someone, I can connect. I don't have to just do one thing. I can do other things. I am more than a poet. I'm more than an artist.
Yeah.
I am a son. I'm, you know, like a human being, you know, that has potential outside of just what I have for art. So, and we're not just consumed by sort of the game or the rat race. 'Cause that's what we left the kind of mundaneness to go into. Like we left like maybe 9 to 5 work or just stress to kind of enter that safe space, and then all of a sudden, that safe space, more success you have, can feel like work, can feel like the same sort of rigmarole, and it's like, whoa, that's not what you kind of You came to get a
Signed up
break.
for it.
Now you get stressed. Now you get anxiety. Now you're like, you know, it's like, what's the common denominator? You know, it's just kind of like your mentality. So I think anything could be made to kind of limit you, but we have to think bigger. Think about where it's going. I think it's special. In this world, political, you know, all the different ways people feel small by leaders. I think you'll be surprised in the next few years how these kind of spaces are going to be like, you know, beacons of, you know, support and, you know, Alcoholics Anonymous. It could just be like life and living in a city like London Anonymous, you know, where you want to hear about gentrification and rent and just like abuse. Like, come, we need some support, you know, because we need each other. But where will we get a chance to even talk? Because again, we're in a society where we don't really. I walk past 100 people, they push past me, you know. But we have something special within the community if we protect the principles, you know. So I'm always going to fight for the sacredness of the space.
Maybe it's kind of a thing where I feel like, especially more so in the performing arts industry, but in a lot of industries in general, that you see each other, what I see is your colleagues in this game of life. They see them as enemies in everything, especially in performing arts industry where you have to
think about acting. That was the thing about
or do it for yourself. Once I'm up there now, then I can possibly think about helping out someone else. But then you're thinking, well, I'm here now. I'm here. What's the point of helping someone down here when no one helped me get to this point? And it's kind of like, I can understand that perspective, but at the same time, once you're up there, it's very lonely up there, you know, if you're up there alone.
It's like all these rappers that say, oh, I'm lonely at the top. It's like you did something wrong.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Go back down, humble yourself, and then take a couple of people with you. You don't have to. And then, you know what I'm saying? Share that, so then that can expand, innit?
I've actually gotten a lot of joy though from seeing other people's journey.
For real, exactly,
You know,
right? As opposed to the whole competition thing you were saying earlier, you know?
Yeah, and you never know, man. If your mate gets to the top,
Yeah.
it's cool to have a mate there, you know. So it's not always, you can't just always think about like linear, you know. You have to think about there's people that like we were talking about a couple of people that are like the center points of different groups of people, right? And he might not even know that his name rings in like different sections,
true.
but isn't that like a credit to like maybe a person's whole demeanor that he can connect different disparate groups?
Because what he does in the dark is what people see in the light.
Yeah,
and that's the effect, man.
But things done in the dark doesn't always have to be negative. They could just be
For real.
behind the scenes.
Yeah, and there's beauty in that, you know. There's beauty. You never know how your name is being ringed. I mean, I like to show a lot of my like performances from other people on my page. I've had people kind of like comment on it's like, why do you use your space for other people? Why is it not just you? And you know, it's almost like your person. It's like we're all become like brands, right?
Yeah.
It's like,
So
but
trying to build us into
like
the
I want people to know I like this piece. This piece is dope. Like, why wouldn't more people, you know, like, why, and if more people share other people's successes, like, why does that an indication that I might not take myself seriously? So for a moment, I was like, oh, you know what? I'm just gonna hold off a little bit. I'm just gonna just keep my stuff up there because I don't want to seem that I'm not as serious as the cutthroat person. But
So could that be down to your state of mind, maybe? So like, for you to empower other people, you have to be, or not empower, is that the right word? Am I inspired? That's the one I was looking for. You have to be in the right frame of mind, like living in the now, as opposed to you can't be living in the past. You can't be thinking about the future because you can't change the future. And then there was also, what was that quote that you mentioned earlier, Tish, about the road can change?
If you don't have a destination, any path will get you there.
Yeah, it's kind of like the idea of like your future can change in a single thought. So you could be going down this one passage, but then you make a single different thought, your whole entire future changes. But you won't know that because it's just it seems so small and minute to you, but you've actually affected such a big catastrophic form of events.
It's happening like every nanosecond.
Yeah.
We don't even realise it, even unconsciously most of the time. We're making these tiny little decisions. and it's affecting not just our whole future, but of everyone on Earth.
Exactly.
So, you know, like the butterfly effect is, a butterfly somewhere, its wing beat could cause a tornado halfway across the world. Because, you know, that tiny little of air builds up, eventually someone's house getting blown apart. And this is happening all the time. This is why awareness and consciousness is so important, that we become more aware of, like you say, what's happening now, because every tiny little thing is having an impact we don't even realise. And a lot of the damage we cause is what we're not actually conscious of. We don't even realise we're doing it, so we're hurting people, damaging things in ways we can't even see. So the more aware we become of what is happening, how am I really acting, what decisions am I making, we can start to make wiser and more considerate and kind actions and decisions to people, and it influences everyone, it influences all our futures. I always feel like everything is in the palm of our hands right now. In this moment, like everything is now, it's infinite now, and we have access. We have access to everything right now. Infinite wisdom exists within us right now. Infinite intelligence, and we can transform our whole future by the decisions we make right now.
I think sometimes negative or like destructive traits comes from a place of like insecurity. So I was just thinking to myself, like, if I'm the most secure within myself, like if I have a healthy self-esteem, right? You know, I love myself, and I naturally will kind of produce love, because I don't really have a reason to knock you down or to not.
Yeah.
I'm not intimidated by you or your success. I'm more happy for you. You know what I mean? If I am secure.
Yeah, exactly.
So if people kind of demonstrate to me some toxic traits, like, you know, maybe closing certain doors, or maybe you find that, you know, they I don't know, talking about people, gossiping, that's another thing. Sometimes it's been tough in this industry where you get so close and it's like a family, or sometimes it's a small world, right? A small community, and then you're like, oh, you find out you can't go to that lunch table anymore because, you know, you're not welcome. But like it won't really affect how you feel about yourself or about them if you get yourself right first. So I've definitely been just thinking more about that, and I think even when I felt like doors are closed, it might be my own. I'm thinking too much about what someone else's door, someone else's opportunity. Not necessarily just being grateful for what I do have. You know, I might not get 1,000 claps, but I got 1 clap, or I might not win a competition, but one person spoke to me, and that's actually great. That's one more person that spoke and interacted with me than I would have had I not come along anyway. But yeah, I'll be focused on the other people that didn't, you know, or the things that I don't have, and it's not rational. I'm really trying to. That's like my motto going forward, and I think that will help me to sort of like piece together different vibes that you get. You can control your vibe at all times, but it's also a test. When I felt a bit iffy, it really starts with me. It's like, okay, today I feel insecure. Today I'm a little jealous. Today, you know, I feel like I have to like comment about something in someone else's, or watch someone else's. You know, you ever heard this thing about sharing posts, and you can kind of like hate like something? What? You can hate like your friend goes on holiday.
You can hate like.
Yeah,
I never. That's new.
Your friend is in the Bahamas, and you like the picture, but you don't really like it. Why? Because
you want to be.
You want to be there, but they don't know that. You know, a lot of times people could hate like you. You know what I mean? Like they're not happy. They're not really happy for you, but
It's like
you know.
one doesn't exist on Instagram. I'll double tap.
It's like, no, man. Like the page on your chest, don't like it, but you know, don't be like affected by someone else's happiness or what they've shared, or you know what their response has been. It's such a weird thing, because deep down, even though that is a trait that we manifest, I don't believe at our core anyone is really like that. I don't think anyone, that's not the best version of themselves. So I'm trying hard not to judge people, because I wouldn't want someone to judge me at my moment of weakness when I've shared those negative traits. I just know that on that day or at that moment, it wasn't coming from a place of security. And at the same time, protect your energies. You only have yourself, your own mental well-being. If people are making you feel claustrophobic, closing your horizons, making you feel that, you know, you're not comfortable, there is no award for like maintaining, you know, relationships or things that make you feel down. Like, feel free to just step away. You have a choice, you have control, but at the same time, just to strike that balance. But it's a beautiful world. It's a beautiful life, really.
Can I ask each of you,
Sure.
What's one thing that a person can do every day to feel more secure in order to expand their horizons? Something consistent that would help them.
I would just quickly write down just an awareness, self-awareness of what you're good at. You know, like, we're so quick to praise others, but we're not quick to praise ourselves, I think. Like, it's hard to say, like, I hate interviews just because of that main reason, because it's weird. Hi, I'm good at this and I'm good at that. I've never really enjoyed that process. Why, though? Why? Because if you don't actually tell people or feel that way about yourself, who is? Outside of, like, you know, family, I guess, but like, who's gonna make you feel good about yourself if you can't feel good about yourself first? So I would just, healthy self-esteem is just huge. It's the only way I've survived.
It reminds me of something what Anna Sinsky said last time about the fear of success, as well as having a fear of failure. Because we've been programmed since young to always, we're scolded at each of our mistakes that we made. We're not allowed to grow through them and to develop ourselves. So we're actually always in a constant state of looking to fail at things because we're scared of that success because we're so programmed to
relationships.
Yeah.
One thing I found funny actually is because like usually every episode I make notes of like kind of the key points to what we're kind of talking about, but literally the article that I found of the 6 points of amplifying your life is literally all the 6 points that you guys
awesome.
the entire show. That's why I've been looking at my notes.
Okay, great.
So basically, like, so the first one was intention, the second one was about gratitude, the third one's forgiveness, fourth one is sacrifice, the fifth one is intuition, the sixth one is wisdom, and then, oh wait, maybe I count wrong. There's wisdom, and then afterwards is dreaming big. And it's literally all the points we've literally talked about in this episode, which is kind of crazy. That's really cool. And I also have a quote for this episode, because I have a quote every month. So this month, the quote is by Christopher McCandless, and the quote goes like this: "The very basic core of a man's living spirit is his passion for adventure. The joy of life comes from our encounters with new experiences, and hence there is no greater joy than to have an endless changing horizon. For each day to have a new and different sun."
Wow. Can we get that back again?
Yeah.
One more time? Reload.
The very basic core of a man's living spirit is his passion for adventure. The joy of life comes from our encounter with new experiences, and hence there is no greater joy than to have an endless changing horizon. For each day to have a new and different sun.
Wow.
It's so true, man. If you think about horizon, when you get there, there'll be another one.
Yeah.
Like further on, and you get another one. Like, so when you get from 1, you start something, and you get to 10. That 10 becomes a new 1, and then it just doesn't bloody stop, does it? It just keeps going, man.
But there's joy in that, though.
Of course.
There's joy in
It's like
expansion.
tarrying on an ocean with no shore. There's a thing that I read once. It's such a beautiful sentence.
That's interesting,
Yeah. And so, going back around, so you asked the question, what should we do every day?
Right, yeah.
And I'm full of loads of things I want to say. There's loads of things. I just want to say more, actually.
Yeah.
Tell someone you love them. Just grab anyone, tell them you love them. In fact,
I love you, man.
I love you too. Talk to a stranger, you know what I mean? Do something scary. Do something that scares you.
Okay.
Express yourself in a new way. And definitely always meditate. just lots of people have different ideas about what that means. Sit in silence, basically, or just be in silence. Honestly, it can transform your life. It'll transform your life if you do it every day. And that was what the original point I wanted to make about this idea of adventure and expanding our horizons. And it put this image in my mind of this kind of guy like traveling across the world, you know what I mean, going across the seas, the desert, always, you know, going different places. But actually, you don't have to physically move from where you are to expand. And that's where it comes back to the meditation, is actually just being where you already are and going deeper inside of yourself. That will actually expand your horizons itself. So actually there's an endless and infinite amount of discovery to be done within. You don't have to leave your home. You don't have to, not that you shouldn't, because there's a place for everything in life. Sometimes you do have to get out there physically in the world and go different places, meet different people, but there's so much to be gained from just sitting where you are and going within yourself. That can expand yourself so much. You look at some really powerful beings out there on the planet, and you will see a lot of them are meditators, because once you master your mind, then you can actually master your reality.
I think there's a saying to that extent, which was, he who travels outside learns, while he who travels inside awakens.
Yes, that's beautiful. That's beautiful, yeah. Because they're different. There's almost different dimensions in life. There's the spiritual and the physical. I feel like they're one. They're so intimately intertwined, but yet there's some kind of difference there. Like, you can get all the worldly success in the world. You can be the best this, the best that, but you might not have that deep spiritual awakening, that ultimate fulfillment and peace and serenity inside. Or you can have that true inner peace and clarity without actually necessarily achieving much in the world, without getting lots of money or being this great artist or whatever it is. So I suppose we all have to find our balance of what's right for us, what's really important to you. Everyone's different. There's a place for everyone in their own unique authenticity. Yeah.
Sure.
So I have 2 more questions for both of you before we end up the show. First question is, what is a point that you would take away from this episode? I'm going to each of them first.
Okay. Yeah. What would I take away? I definitely would take away the importance of connection. You know, connecting. You know, you just never know. It takes you nothing to have a conversation with someone and say, hey, you know, and look where it brought me today, man. You know. Yeah, but like it really there's a beauty in just making connections, good or bad. Just living, man. Just make connections, and that's just what we make.
And what about you, Tom?
I think I'll take home today a lot of inspiration from you all. Just seeing all of your passion and your creativity just inspires me to keep going. So you know what, the next time we meet, I've got more to share with you. It just inspires me on my journey. It's like I'm sucking in that energy, giving so much, and I'm just going to take this home with me, and I'm going to share that love with everyone I meet, and hopefully I'll come back next time and, you know, we can share even more love. We can keep this love snowball going. We can keep expanding.
As it rolls, it picks up more snow.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so just so much joy, so much happiness, appreciation, so much gratitude for all of you being here and for us to be able to share our message and our love here today. It's so brilliant, so thank you so much. And just love to all of you, you're all beautiful souls, you're incredible, you inspire me.
And my final question is, what would you tell your future self?
My future self. Normally it's people ask, what would you tell your younger self?
No, your future self.
My future self. Because I think my future self will be wiser than I am now. So what am I going to say?
You hope, not sure.
You hope, yeah.
I don't know, man. See, man, I don't know how secure I feel today. Man. Why did that come out? Why the negativity, man? What's wrong with you, man? Come on. I would say the same thing I would say to my younger self. Just smile more. You know, like life is so much better.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I would just say to my future self, like, I don't know what's happened up there or wherever you are down there, but I love you just the same. And you know what? Just know that you're beautiful the way you are. You know, and just keep looking like you say, keep smiling. Just keep smiling.
Yeah. That was a really dope episode, guys.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Very, very inspiring. And yeah, as Jamal said before on what he would tell his future self, that's what I wanted to leave people with, because that's the thing that I think that everyone should do more every day is smile more. It's like, what's it? How much calories is it to smile?
It's true.
Can I touch on? So sometimes your happiness makes you smile, and sometimes your smile makes you happy. And I was reflecting on this recently. I use death a lot. I focus on death because I think it really helps me focus on clarity. What's really important. And I was reflecting, what would I do if I was going to die the next moment? If I had one moment, like instantly, one instant, what would I do then? Because then I don't have time. I don't have time to call my family, tell them I love them.
Yeah.
I don't have time to go and chase that dream, do that thing I always wanted to do. And I came to my answer. If I had one moment left, I was going to die. I'd just smile.
Yeah. Yeah. Word.
Thank you. With that, it's double cabbage.